I do have to admit, one thing that Lifeless did was inspire me to make a list. I'm sure that was its purpose. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure that's what it was intended to do. I remember as soon as it finished, it's not like I made a life list like it was a bucket list or anything, but I made a list which is called life stuff. So copyrighted, maybe. Joking. It's not because obviously mine's called life stuff, but then it's not even the same because I guess her life list structured doing like stuff like in order, well, yeah, in order to get her mum's tapes, but like mine's not the same. Like my life stuff is like, oh, I wrote down where I ideally would want to live. I wrote down the fact that like there's things I can do, but only one out of three at the minute. I can only like, I can only somewhat bike. Um, somewhat. No, I mean I can bike. I just can't bike well. I can't ride a line bike. But moving on from that, so I can bike well, but is sectioned into biking, driving, swimming. I can bike, can't drive, can't swim, right? But I will tackle those. So that's what it is. So it's one out of three. And then you've got, actually, let me even look at the list while I'm talking about it. And then you have, yeah, yeah. Then you also have, um, then you also have job. Yeah, so job, house, driving. And then with driving, the last one, I started to view it as I want to learn how to drive, but not necessarily own a car. I'm just not too sure. I'm just like in this economy, in this society, drive on the road. No, I'm thinking that it's like that's the thing with life. I feel like sometimes it's a checklist. So similar to what she did, it's a checklist in order to do all the things that you need to do. So it's like driving is a, it is a have to. It's not even like, do you know what I mean? It's not a must. It's not a maybe. It's a must. Like you must drive. Like not even. So it's like, yeah, you have to at least learn. But if you're actually going to drive, that's up to you to decide. Like, I just mean you need to have it under your belt. Like, you need to have it there. You need to have it ready. Somebody says, oh, yeah, can you drive for me? Like, you know what I mean? You're in a car with somebody, they say, oh, can you drive for me? Then you say, yeah. Because it's like, imagine if something happens and then you can't drive. And it's like, that person can't drive. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe what's an instance I'm thinking of? Oh, yeah, if you are and a friend are out, you didn't drink, but your friend did, so then one of you have to do designated driver. And then it's like, oh, then you can't be designated driver because you can't drive. Well, like, no. So it's just like, yeah, I feel like learning to drive is, yeah, it's fundamental, of course. Not even that wasn't even on obviously Alex's. I guess she could, yeah, well, she could already drive, so she's an adult. We say it like there's no adults like me who can't drive. There is, but there's nothing wrong with that. I want you to know that right now. There's nothing wrong with the fact that you can't drive. You're just taking time. You're just taking life as it goes. Eventually, you will drive. But like me, you're just gonna learn. You're gonna learn for the concept of learning, but just not maybe for the idea that you fundamentally see yourself behind a wheel, like, and you see yourself paying car insurance and doing all those things. I sometimes think about life and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that like life is about like, yeah, you're born and then it's like you're gonna have more kids on top of that to take care of them plus also yourself. Then you also have to pay bills and you also have to pay car insurance. You have to do all of those stuff while you live. It's a bit much. Even I saw like a TikTok yesterday, and then the woman was like, "Oh, imagine that you've had a hard day from work, and then you come home, and there's just some person in your house asking you, oh, what's for dinner?' And you're like, I don't even know what I want to eat. Like, I literally just got here. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. And then it's like, as a role model, as a parent, it's like you would obviously have to cook, but like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't, because I know people sometimes do that whole like, yeah, bang stuff in the oven stuff. But then it's like, you probably would have to, because you have to make sure like your kids get all the right things, which is just like, no. But that's always my thing. I've always looked at it like, why do I want to look after another person? I also need to look after me. It looks that statement, it sounds like selfish, but then it makes sense though. You know what I mean? I don't think that it's a big deal that I view it that way. But anyways, life list. I gave the life list a 3 stars on Letterboxd. That really bummed me because no, like it bummed me because I was saying to somebody, it bummed me because my algorithm, like I don't know, my algorithm will be off. Oh my gosh, wait. Yeah, so my algorithm will be off. Like, or I guess no, it won't. I mean, I give everything 5 stars on that box, right? And then I guess my bar's gonna just have have a little bit like up of it having a 3. But I was just like, in my head, even if it doesn't look like that on the bar chart, in my head, I was like, it throws off my algorithm a lot because I don't give any film 3 stars. And 3 stars for me, yeah, is really low. I know everybody has a different scale on how they rate things, but like mine, or I don't know. I sometimes think, is there a right and a wrong way? But then no, I know how I rate, and then there's people might rate differently. I guess for 3 is for me, like I say 3 when it's like I know that I really didn't enjoy it, but it was somewhat thoroughly good. Yeah, so it was what I'm saying is, yeah, it's like my 3 stars for me is always, oh yeah, it was thoroughly good, but it had some parts where it was missing, and parts where it could have been better. Like obviously it's like, yes, you envision a 3 stars and you think there's 2 stars, like the 2 stars that are missing is the two, like is the mark that they missed, you know what I mean? You're like, that's why it's like the 2 stars are the room for improvement. We said if it was a 5, you would know, but it wasn't. I think with Life List, I want to say, right, the main lead was amazing. I've seen Kyle Allen in West Side Story, and I already knew of him, yeah, and I thought, obviously, I thought he's going to be great, which he was. Like, which he was. And it's like even his performance was the thing that wanted to sway me and wanted me to give it maybe a 4 or a 5, and then I was like, no, it wasn't feeling like that though. And I think when you know, you know. Like, you know, when it just comes to rating, you just know. You know when something is a 5 or if it's a 4 or a 3 or lower. Like you literally know. And it was just like, you know, it's funny. Maybe is it because it had Sophia Carson in it, and then Sophia Carson she was originated, or not even originated, but I meant she originates, like, as in she started on Disney. So it makes you feel like, oh, like, well, looking to myself, can Sophia Carson not play serious roles? Like, do you know what I mean? Are we putting that typecast box on her, even though, you know, I mean, she would want to get out of that. Do you know what I mean? She wouldn't want people to think that about her, like that she's just a Disney star. Or you know, like how Leon Thomas, he was from Victorious, but he's not. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh yeah, he's from Nickelodeon, and it's like we just, you know, that's all he's known for, right? It's not that. Now he's Leon Thomas, who is a star basically, right? But I just felt like with Sophia Carson, actually, it's like you don't see her in very much. Like I remember when when Lifeless came up, and I was like, oh, like Sophia Carson, and I was like, right, she was in, but I was middling up the names. I was like Divergent, and I was like, no, Divergent is Shailene Woodley and Theo James. I said that's wrong, and then I was like, okay, and then I was like, no, so it's what's it called, is Descendants, right? Which obviously is her and Dove Cameron and all the rest of people, and Cameron Boyce as well, but R.I.P. to Cameron Boyce. So all of those, like, that was where she started out from. I don't think Like, yeah, we don't know her from anywhere else. So then it's like, I don't know if that's the reason, but then that's probably why, like, the lines and, like, some of the acting just felt a bit, like, I don't know, felt a bit cringe, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Disney has that feel too, like, do you know what I mean? When they say something funny, then the laughing track comes and you're like, and it's, like, so weird. I think I hate it, like, you know, I think I was saying this, I can't remember when, I was saying that it's just, like, when you're a child, you you're easily impressed. And I said it's not a diss to us, but it's true, because we don't pick up on these things. Like, Disney's not great, but we liked Disney when we were younger, because it's like all we wanted was just to have a laugh. Like, do you know what I mean? But, you know, I think I might do a podcast episode on this, but I want to do Disney favorites though, and I want to talk about, yeah, like I said, Disney favorites. I want to talk about the stuff back then that, like, even though, like, do you know what I mean, it had that kind of atmosphere that playing a show on Disney has, like, that it wasn't bad. Like, it was obviously actually really good, like, for its time. And, like, no, for its time, and just even, like, even just existing as well. Yeah, even just existing, like, that was why it was important, and that was why it was able to do so well. I mean, but I just mean with, like, I don't think that what Sophia was in, like, I don't think Descendants is bad. They did too many of them though. That's my takeaway. But like, but I don't think that Descendants is bad. It's just, what I'm saying is that, like, so there was lines in the life list that was like, oh, let them eat cake, and then it was like, oh, I just felt so weirded out. And then also when she had the book as well, and then, you know, because also when I think after I watched it, and I saw this video on YouTube where it was somebody editing the life list, and I was like, yeah, this is a field day for editors. Do you know what I mean? It's a field day for them. I always watch those type of videos, like, you know, the ones, yeah, that are just like making fun of a film because obviously the lines are so bad. Then they'll put all those like funny memes in there, and do you know what I mean? I knew that Life List would be one that, like, editors would be able to eat up. Like, do you know what I mean? They'd be able to get their entertainment out of it, because the lines were just so, like, they were just so forced. And then, oh my gosh, there was something I wanted to touch on actually in this episode, and I wanted to say that, like, I don't like it when, I've even checked my point because I wrote it down as well, so I just need to make sure. So yeah, so I hate it when, like, the female lead gets mad at their love interest for saying the right things, and I think it's just a boring, overdone trope. Like, they get so upset when their love interest says the right thing. I'm like, what are you even mad about? What are you even talking about? Well, it's the same format, you know, like, even in Life List, yeah. And is this going to be a spoiler? Not really. I feel like it's the same format every kind of rom-com sometimes follows. The two main people, yeah, who obviously are destined to be together, they have a fight, and then it's like, oh, and then afterwards, then they make up and then they fall in love. But then you're like, okay, that's weird. But then the thing that's annoying is that, like, yeah, he told her the right things. And then, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not even like, oh, yeah, it's not even like she had to get mad at him in the first place, because he literally said all the right things. I think he was telling her how she doesn't really like that guy, the guy that she's with in the film. And then he gets upset, and then she gets upset, and we're like, but he's not wrong though. He's not wrong. All because he read you and now you're upset. And I was like, but why though? Like, why? You don't actually need to be. So I was just like, it's crazy. And then for me, that's another thing where you just think, oh yeah, it's sloppy writing, or, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work. And you're just like, why do the same thing over and over again? Like, one time is enough. And I think everyone talks about the fact that rom-coms used to have such a thing about them back in the day, which they did. Like, probably, obviously, we all know, like, the peak for rom-coms was probably the 2000s, and that was when they were at their best. Like, flipping, I don't know, Bend It Like Beckham. You guys would be like, Bend It Like Beckham, but I'm like, yes. And Bend It Like Beckham mentioned, but yes, Bend It Like Beckham. Yeah, and I wanted more examples. So, how to lose a guy in 10 days. He's 2 weeks' notice. He's just not that into you. Bridget Jones' Diary. 500 Days of Summer. High Fidelity. We just can 13 Going on 30. Love Actually. The Proposal. 27 Dresses. 27 Dresses. 27 Dresses. I feel like, yeah, The Lifeless tried to be 27 Dresses. They tried to be so hard and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. Because I feel like 27 Dresses has the same kind of sentiment. Oh, aside from the whole... aside from the whole mum thing, of course. But I just mean the whole, like, oh, living your life for you. Like, you know what I mean? Doing a list. Do you know what I mean? Going through a list. Because it's you living the best of your life or blah, 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 or whatever. Some of the stuff on her list was so weird, though. It was like, oh, do stand-up comedy. We're like, why? And you wrote that when you were younger? Why did you want to do stand-up comedy when you were, like, 5? Just like, do people really write lists like that? Or I meant as a young child, as those the lists that you're really writing? I don't know, like, maybe, am I being stereotypical that maybe I just thought as a child you probably would have wrote on there, like, oh, I want to go to Disneyland. Like, hello, I was just thinking stand-up comedy. That's weird. Yeah, I was like, that feels more like something, yeah, it feels like something more that an adult would write, I guess, for a list like that. I just didn't think it was going to be like that. And so, yeah, I just say 27 Dresses because, and I mean them sharing the same sentiment, is that, like, 27 Dresses kind of, like, obviously it was that Jane was always, she had 27 dresses, which were all bridesmaid dresses, because she was always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Corpse Bride mentioned. But no, she was always the bridesmaid and never the bride. And so it was like her life was passing her by, so to speak. And, like, obviously, because this is the thing, like, Alex's mum also read her and said, oh yeah, you need to get out of this rut that you're going through, right? She realized her daughter was not doing well. I forget what it was. What was Alex not doing? Oh, she stopped being a teacher, right? And then I guess, I don't know, then I guess her mum is the reason which pushed her in the direction to do all of this stuff that she, like, stopped doing. So it's like, not being a teacher, so she goes back to do teaching, and then yeah, and all this stuff, and find the love of her life. And I don't know, I don't know, I was thinking to myself, oh yes, I enjoyed the whole mum storyline thing, but then I probably also feel like, was it necessary? And then could the film been better without it? Quite possibly. Like, I think the whole concept of the light list is great. That's what I said to you guys in the beginning. I think that whole concept is amazing. Like, you know what I mean? I think, like, it did inspire people to do life lists. Like, do you know what I mean? I know that I saw on TikTok, everyone who watched the film, they then started writing life lists. And I was like, yeah, that's what you want. And you want a film to always change the way you view life. Sometimes, but, you know, not all the time, I guess. Sometimes you want you want to watch films to be a little silly with it, but like, so yes, you want the film to yeah, to change the way, and you want it to just inspire you to do something, right? So I just think that whole concept was great, but I maybe feel like, oh, if her mother wasn't, like, at the start, like, not is it at the start, but I mean, she's the main protagonist, Alex, but I'm saying if she wasn't the main crux, maybe the film could have been better. I just mean it would have had a different kind of angle to it. Yeah, and I don't also want to I don't want to say too much, because that's what I meant. I was going to say something and I was like, no. But no, I just mean the angle without her mum being at the forefront. The whole like, it could have just been a better thing. Like, it could have been maybe even like a, I don't know, yeah, farewell letter. Or I just don't know. I just think this film was missing a lot of things. Um, yeah, it was missing a lot of things. So, and obviously, 21 7 Dresses is great. And 21 7 Dresses came out, yeah, in 2008. That's what I'm saying. It's the peak of great rom-coms, and also Juno as well, which was 2007. And then also there's another one that I'm thinking about, but I can't. Oh, and Ella Enchanted, which was 2004. So there's a lot of them. There's also one of mine, hold on, which is, this is my own favorite, of course, Penelope, which is 2006. And obviously they put Penelope under, what did they put it under? Romance slash indie film, which is very surprising. I thought it would more so, yeah, I thought it would be, it's romance. It's romance, yeah. Maybe romance slash indie slash comedy. Because yeah, it's funny. But it actually is also supposed to be also. I meant that film, Penelope, is supposed to touch your heart and like, you know what I mean? She's a girl with a pig snout, right? But the thing that I love about Penelope is that obviously he loves her without ever seeing her face. Do you know what I mean? Like love at first sight, but then not really because there's no eye contact involved. It's just behind a screen of some sorts. Yeah, so that's why that's a favorite. So I just don't know. Like, I want to say that, like, oh, like it had some elements of rom com, like, because that's what I'm saying. I think the main push was Alex and is it Bradley? Yeah, Kyle's character. I was like, what was his name? But yeah, Bradley. Their relationship was great. Like, do you know what I mean? And it was I think their relationship obviously was will they won't they. That was great. I like will they won't they. That's a very great trope because it's like you don't really know. You don't really know if they'll end up together or not. And yeah, just like you just don't know. And I like a will they won't they. But I think so that's why I'm saying they hit the mark on that. Like they hit the mark on that. They didn't do everything else. Like obviously, like I said to you guys, I think that acting lines is what made it not like get the mark. If we if we were to take out a checklist, if we were to tick things off, that would be the thing that is missed. And I don't know, because even, oh yeah, when I was looking at the list of rom-coms, yeah, 2000 rom-coms, obviously Bridget Jones' Diary was also on there too. And it makes you think about the fact that Bridget Jones' Diary, like, it has, yes, it ticks the mark for all of the lists, all the checkboxes that are on a checklist for rom-coms is, they're all ticked on there. Like, I feel like what's it called? You attach yourself to Bridget because she's relatable. Number two, she doesn't think that she deserves attention, right? But moving on from that. But then, but like I feel like that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying Bridget has everything, and then Bridget definitely has the comedy. Like the comedy timing in Bridget is impeccable, and I said that literally when I did my marathon for all three of the films, leading up to the last one. I said like the comedy was the mark that was always, it was always hitting, it was always right, there was always a funny moment. I think I said it in my January watches, just the previous episode. I was saying how, what was it, how yes, the scene in Bridget Jones' The Edge of Reason, and Mark goes to Bridget, oh Bridget, that's not your coat. And we're like, and I was like, it's so like, I think it's the way that like what's that guy's name? Colin. It's where that Colin Firth delivers the line so bluntly, so yeah, so observant, and then it just comes across like it just comes across hilarious. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that the life this was missing. Like a lot of the stuff was just like forced and it just didn't work. And also I hated Julian with The Life of Me. Julian was awful. Like hashtag hate Julian supremacy. Like That's what I'm saying. He was one of the worst characters in that whole movie. And I was like, is that they did that on purpose? Because they do that. They just wanted it to have that rom-com film. But then I don't really feel like, is that what happened in a rom-com where you hate somebody in it? I was like, I'm not too sure if that's what happened. I don't feel like that is true. But yeah, Julian really, really irked me. And I thought he was supposed to be related to her, right? He was supposed to be related to her. And then it says Alex's other brother is much more business minded and would rather focus on the family business than Alex's seemingly bizarre bucket list journey. So this is what I mean. They wanted there to be a character that irks you a little bit, but then I said no, like that shouldn't have been what it was about. Or there shouldn't have been a character like Julian. Take him out. And I got so irritated by him. Every time he came on the screen, I said, Julian, shut up. Like, close your mouth. You're just talking and you talk a lot. And you talk unnecessarily as well. And I know that's why, like, this is what I'm saying. This is why the film deserves its 3. Because it's just like, it had all these things that it's just so weird. Anyways, look. They have this Screen Rant thing. What does it say? It says, and the heading always stands out to me. You know, I love it when it's like, yes. So whenever we all know this. Where if like you write, it's like there's a heading and it grabs you in, and you're like, yes, I want to read this. This on Screen Rant says Sophia's cast in The Lifeless would have worked so much better if Netflix made this change. So. Interesting. Yeah, so heart-wrenching. That's what I'm saying. So Lifeless has like the emotion, has all of that. That's great. But then however the film still had major issues that left it feeling like a draft instead of a completed project, right? Oh my gosh. This article probably was the answer to my like it was the answer to my prayers. I needed an article like this. I wanted to know what is it that I feel like I'm missing. Of course, I said to you guys what I believe my thoughts are, but this article is going to tell me what they are. That's great. I needed to know. They said The Lifeless would have worked better as a TV show, not a movie. The Lifeless had too much ground to cover in 2 hours. Right? No, I hear that. But they also would have. Oh, yeah. They also should have just like done better on the acting as well. Or I meant, it's not the acting, it's the writing. That's what I mean. You know, when you look at something, when you say that about a film, yeah, it's not the acting, it's the writing. Like, the writing needed to be, it needed to be edited. Like, it needed to, like, yeah, it needs to be Eddie. I just hate it when, yeah, they try to make a movie, like, feel too hip, like, down with the times, and it just feels weird. Who wants that, though? Who wants that? Like, I don't want to feel like... Yeah, I don't want to feel like you're trying to, I don't know, market me. But, like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, because... it's like you know what your audience is, so you try to put in the most weirdest of lines, but then they just don't work because they just because they just don't work. So, and I think obviously this article is still trying to say that The Life has skipped over too many important details. The audience never learns why exactly Alex got stuck in a rut, which makes most of the story pretty shallow. So yeah, the movie never answered why she was fired from her past job, leaving the event vague despite its year-long ramifications. And all these issues could have simply been fixed if Netflix just made The Lifeless TV show instead of a movie. It's interesting. And maybe, I don't know, like, and maybe the acting thing, like, the writing thing wouldn't probably be as much of a deal. Like, yeah, it wouldn't have been much of a deal, obviously, in a TV series, actually. Because I sometimes even feel like in TV series, of course, you can just walk, like, move past that. Do you know what I mean? You generally can. It's not easy to do, but you can do it. You know what I mean? You literally can just be like, oh, this isn't great, but hey ho. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can be like, oh, this should be better, but, you know, like, it's fine. Like, you know what I mean? So you do that. You're like, okay, it's not that great, but it's all right. So that's what I mean. So I don't know. That is my views. I don't have much more to say generally because obviously I guess the film disappointed me. I do agree about the concept of it being a TV show. I think, I don't know, I feel like with a TV show actually, maybe also if you're not enjoying it, you'll just stop watching, like, because then I guess there's too much cringe, I guess, no, there's only almost so much cringe you can take, sorry, that happens quite a lot, do you know what I mean, it makes me reminisce on how I put down Riverdale, because Riverdale just got so weird, and yeah, but then, who even knows if it was with Riverdale, it was never to do with, like, I don't know, it wasn't to do with the, lines, but then you could still blame the writing because obviously it was just like it was all over the place and they just did loads of like unnecessary things like singing, and I was like, no, like, and you know, that was another thing that annoyed me, like I wanted to like it so bad. And I guess this is another thing with Lifeless. They have that in common as well. I'm like, I like musicals, and it was like, oh, I just didn't feel like it was like Riverdale being a musical worked. I didn't feel like that concept. I just didn't feel like it worked. And then I guess with Lifeless, I didn't feel like they they ticked the main part, which is comedy. Like, do you know what I mean? You can either feel like if something's funny or it's not funny. Like, there's not any in between, really. like when it comes to comedy, either we're laughing or we're just not. Like, or we're weirded out because it's been too much like a gun to your head than just somebody tickling you, but like in a but not too much, because when someone's tickling you and it's a bit too much, so not like that, but just when someone's tickling you and it's just like just tiny bit, but that's what you want though. You want the tiny tickling, but not like not all in your face. So you know what I mean, you just want to be pleased on that much. But then that's what it's true. It's like, it's making me think it over and over again. I'm like, yes, if maybe if it was a TV show, I could have actually liked it more. You never know. Like, I don't know. It being a 3 for me was just like, I really like rom-coms. That's what I'm saying. Like I mentioned about the musicals thing, I like rom-coms and I love rom-coms. So it's like, oh, I really wanted to like this rom-com. But it's like, you just wouldn't let me, you wouldn't let me like it. That's your fault, So exactly, whose fault is that but yours? It's not mine. I always say to people with movies, I'm easily impressed. Generally, you could recommend me any film, I'll watch it. Oh, unless we said unless it's not horror, then maybe not. But other than that, yes. So yeah, like obviously all the basis of yes, being easily impressed. I said as long as it's not horror or anything like that, like I can watch any film and then I give it, it can be a 5. Like I'm like, it's automatically a 5. But then obviously like with Lifeless, if there's just some parts that just irk me and I can't do anything about it. I'm just like, no. And I'm like, you've left me no choice. We were supposed to be partners, remember? Tell me if you get the reference, yes or no. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I feel like this was a great episode anyways, because yeah, Lifeless was not a great time. I like, when you watch something though and you would rather just it come out of your memory, except I don't know if it is that bad. Because I feel like if it was, probably would be a 1. Like, that's the thing. I feel like with terms of rating scales, 1 would definitely be like, oh yeah, you don't want to even remember that you even set your eyes on this piece of work. Like, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. But I'm just like, yeah, I still have, it still has its clutches on me of the weird and false lines. So yeah, it's just a bit of a meh, bit of a boo. So yeah, thank you for listening, and see you in the next one.